Hi everyone, welcome back to another little painting demo of mine. Just want to apologise first. I had the camera set on the wrong settings on this one, and it's kind of zoomed out a bit and not taken it so close in, so I don't know how it's going to view, but I thought I won't waste it, I'll post it anyway. It might be of use to some people. Now I'm using the Jackson Eco paper here. It's their smooth paper, and you can see I'm painting it without having stretched it first, so it's going to cockle a bit. And it's just a little beach scene that it's Morecambe Bay in fact, and Brian, one of our valued members, had posted it in the image section, so it's there for other people to paint if they want to. I've just changed it around a little bit compositionally. I've brought the boats in a bit closer so they're not so spread out, but you know, you do what you like with it, but I just moved them together. This was really just about testing the paper. I'm going for a lot of testing of it at the moment before I sort of make a final decision on it, because it's very cheap. It works out about $1.65 for an imperial sheet. Now this is handmade eco paper. It's ecologically made apparently. It's kind of yeah, they make it in a sustainable way, so they say, in India. So you can only take their word for it. Let's catch up with the painting now. What I'm doing here is I'm just actually sort of just painting some light red over, just to give it a bit of background colour. I'm using lots of water. I misted the paper first and let that soak in. Now I'm just going over the top of that with a wet into wet wash of ultramarine and a touch of cadmium red, just to see how that sort of, you can see it slowly sinking into the paper. Now one thing I have noticed with this paper, the colours don't seem as dark when they dry out. They look a little bit chalky. Now in some ways that will seem very strange, but in other ways I think it could really, the surface of this paper could work for you. I think it's a question of getting used to it, to be honest. And here I'm just sort of dropping in some cobalt blue just to shift things around a bit, and going back to a darker mix of ultramarine and cadmium red, just to sort of make a bit of an interesting sky. It's just about using water on this. I'm really, you know, sort of trying to test the paper, because I think it could be a very good paper for beginners, in the sense that, you know, you could paint on something that's handmade and get the feel of a really good watercolour paper, but without paying the price, you know, of sort of Arches and paper like that. You know, I'm not saying it's as good as Arches, but saying all that, I think once you get a hang of this paper, you really could do some interesting things with it. It feels lovely. It feels so handmade when you actually pick it up and hold it. I love the feel of it, and I love the look of it. So I'm just sort of building up the clouds a little bit. I'm just adding a little bit of burnt sienna to the mix here, just to sort of warm it up a bit. Just sort of playing around really, see what it can do. Obviously I'm talking over this video, I'm sure you gathered that already. Now just putting in the sea with a little bit of cobalt blue and a little bit of, actually that's Windsor blue, and a little bit of cadmium red, just to dull it down a bit. Now just behind that blue later there's some islands in the distance, and we'll just lightly put those in with a wash later on, but we don't want to do that bit now. We want to save that till later. So I've got to be mindful here of the boats. I need to paint around the boats, and be careful I don't sort of lose the lighter colours. Now there's a little bank of rocks out there. For that I'm just using some burnt sienna and a touch of cobalt blue, a touch of ultramarine, sorry. So it's just burnt sienna, ultramarine, just for this little bank of rocks out there. And I'm just sort of using the Hake brush here. You can see it's about an inch in size, and I'm just using that to put them in. Now this is little tufts of sort of, it's like a marshy sort of, I've never been there before. It's to be honest, so I don't really know what it's like. I'm just painting it from, like I say, Brian's photograph he posted. But this is like little tufts of grass out there. Well, reeds I should say, not grass. And I'm just popping them in now, just to sort of now, just before the sky dries completely, I'm just going in again with another darker to give a bit of weight to the top of the sky. Like I said, this is a smooth paper, and I've just ordered 40 half imperial sheets of the rough. Might have been a bit rash, really. Should have probably ordered a lot less, but. And I'm just waiting on that delivery. Should be here tomorrow. Won't be. Yeah, it could be here tomorrow, Saturday. Let's go back to the sea. I'm just painting the blue down a bit more, and that's just Prussian blue. Did I say? Or no, sorry, Windsor blue. Not Prussian blue, Windsor blue. And there's probably a little bit of cadmium red in it, just to take a bit of the blueness out and grey it out a bit. And just work my way down to the shallower foreground area. You can see the paper is now starting to ripple a little bit, but there's not much we can do about that. But it doesn't buckle very much, actually. You can wet it a lot and it doesn't buckle. It's very thick, this paper, and it takes a lot of abuse. Don't know what it'd be like for lifting out colour though. We will try all that. I'll do a little experiment and we'll try it. So I'm just putting in one of the distant islands now. Just sort of using a much paler wash than what I've put in with the clouds. This is a pale wash of Windsor blue and cadmium red. I'm just trying to keep all the colours sort of pretty harmonious, so they all fit in together. And when that's dry, I've got a much darker line of islands to put in the front as well. So we'll go back to that in a minute. Just dropping the boat in now with a little bit of lemon yellow and a touch of cadmium red. Just a little bit of cerulean blue there on the decking. You know, I'm not slavishly following the photograph. I'm just sort of looking at it as an overall impression of the scene. You know, it's fine for those that want to, but for me it's not what I want to do. Just painting in the little boats behind. It's always nice to start seeing a little bit of colour come into the painting. There's a shadow on the side of the cabin, and again I think I've just gone with the probably cobalt blue and a touch of cadmium red or light red for that shadow. But if you have a go at this painting, you can use, you know, whatever colours you fancy. There's no rules. Just paint and enjoy it. This is just the got a bit lost at this point. The paper wasn't sort of, the paint didn't seem to be gripping the paper like it would on Arche, and this is the first time I've done anything like this on this paper, and it was feeling a bit strange. It does turn out okay at the end. I'm not portraying this to be a fantastic painting. It's an experiment really, getting used to this paper, and you're seeing the process of how, you know, how that works, because it's the same for all artists. When you move from something that you're really comfortable with to something that's slightly more unusual, it's quite difficult. It's still difficult. It's not easy, and I was struggling a little bit here. Just popping in the windows. So I'd watch this on a bigger screen as you can, so you can sort of zoom up. It should be in HD, so you can get it pretty big and still have a good quality picture, but you'll see more of the detail. I'm just working my way around the boats. Okay, here we go. So we're just popping in the island, and that's basically just a darker mix of what I used before. I think that's just ultramarine or Windsor blue and a touch of cadmium red. You know, there's plenty of options for that in your palette. There are little houses on the island where that I'm not sure where it is exactly. I know it's Morecambe Bay. Martin told me, but where it is that what's on the other side, I don't know. But I'm not trying to paint in all the houses and stuff. I'm just leaving a couple of little light patches there just to sort of suggest it. I'm just going in with a smaller brush now and start to pick out some of the details. You have to. Oh, okay. What we're doing now? We're putting in the mast now. There's like, I guess it's some kind of keeps the fishing boat head to wind when they're fishing, like a mizzen mast. Just popping that in now. Using the rigger for that, and I think everybody should have a rigger in their paint set. If they haven't, I suggest you get one, because for me that's an indispensable brush. It's a bit like not having a big wash brush. You've got to have one, and I suggest everybody has a rigger because they just do so much. Just popping the little mast on that sailing boat out there. A few little reflections to suggest those. And of course, like I say, it's a beautiful photograph that Brian took. It's absolutely gorgeous. But just to, because I want to make it my own, I have changed things around a little bit. But just to make it work more for my painting. Some would say it probably doesn't. You're going to have to let me know whether you prefer the commentary given over the painting once I've finished, or as I'm actually doing the painting. Okay, so I'm just sort of adding the detail to a bit of dry brush. I'm trying to get some broken strokes on this quite smooth paper here. And you can get it, as long as you've got quite a dry brush, you can get some broken strokes even on this smooth paper. So it is pretty good. We're just doing the last bits of detail. Now this little brush I'm using now, I would suggest everybody gets one of those too. It's like a Chinese brush. It's got goat hair. They're about £8 off Amazon. If I can find the link, I'll put it on the site. And it is a fantastic brush. It's another brush I wouldn't be without. I saw another artist use one, and I read about it, and they are just brilliant. They point up beautifully, because it's goat hair. It's very hard wearing, but it's still soft enough. It doesn't hold as much moisture as sable, but it's absolutely brilliant. So we're just sort of fiddling around now, putting the last little bits in. Just done a little bit of splattering in the foreground, I think, at that point. I do love painting in boats, so this is one of my favourite things. I know I can't do them all the time because it bore you to death, but I do love doing the boats and the beaches and stuff like that. I think it's because it's how I spent most of my life. And I suppose it's just what I love doing. Probably fiddling now unnecessarily. But there we go. Thanks for watching, and if you have a go, let me see your paintings in the forum. That's it. Thanks for watching, it says. So bye for now. Bye.